Commissary tour. I'll just turn it around. This is where they make the food.
Probably new to you, but we'll go over a little bit of kind of the setup of the digestive tract for a draft first. I'm sure you know a lot of this information, and then how that applies to what I do here in the commissary. So first, a draft. The biggest misunderstanding with draft and ruminants in general is that they have four stomachs. That's not true. It's one single stomach with 4 chambers. So draft will initially eat hay or browse in our situation here at the zoo. Obviously, in the wild, they're not going to be consuming alfalfa hay, but here they'll consume hay. It'll come down the esophagus, hit the rumen first. The rumen is where it's going to be immediately attacked with digestive enzymes and then microbes that are going to break down that material to a semi-digestible portion. That's then going to come back up the esophagus as regurg or cud, sometimes people call it in the cattle world. And they're going to chew that then for a little bit more. They have palpi inside of their mouths on the interior of their lips and sheaths that are going to help prevent any foreign materials, so thorns, really sharp branches, that's going to sift some of that out, and then that way they can get rid of that, and there's big saliva, or they're going to finish digesting it. So then they'll send that cud back down the esophagus, they'll hit the rumen one more time, get blasted with a few more microbes, and then it's going to move on to the reticulum. Reticulum is kind of a cool place because in cattle world, that's where we'll stick a magnet and it will collect any foreign bodies like metal. We don't do that in giraffe, however we could. So they're digestible magnets, they look like a giant pill, send it down and it'll sit there, collect metal, and then it'll come back out. So it could happen in giraffe, but usually that's what we do in cattle world. It's going to go through the reticulum and hit the omasum. Omasum is just further digestion, and then finally the omasum before leaving the draft. So 4 chambers in one single stomach. Everybody thinks these are separate things, but they're all one. The stomach is completely lined with palpi as well, again, to catch some of that material, help digest some of those enzymes. So at the zoo, I kind of went over it. We feed, browse as much as we possibly can, as much as we can offer, because that's going to be the best nutritional item for these animals because they're browsing herbivores. We'll also feed hay. That's more of a filler, a bulk. So we're feeding a high protein alfalfa hay. It's actually dairy quality hay, so really rich in nutrients, really high in calcium. We're talking about a huge animal, anywhere from 1,800 pounds to 2,500 pounds in the large male size. So that's a lot of calcium, phosphorus that we need to get through that body because that's bone supporting for that long neck, those long legs, and hoof growth. So we offer one diet primarily. We'll pass this around. This is the Missouri wild herbivore. So Purina dog food, I'm sure everybody's kind of familiar with Purina. They branched out and created an exotic line not too long ago called Missouri. So we feed almost every animal in our zoo is on Missouri. That's an excellent thing in my opinion because it's really high quality nutrition. So it's being formulated not only with a veterinarian but also with a nutritionist. Not every diet goes through that same standard. So we have things from an insectivore diet, feeding as small as a hedgehog, up to a gorilla diet. We also do an elephant cake as well. So this is not actually a browse-based pellet. There's no traditional tree matter. However, it's going to be more of a plant matter based. So soybean hulls, oat based, beet pulp for flavor because it tastes really good. So, we feed about 200 pounds of that a day for our herd of 60.
Okay.
In the wild, a giraffe is going to eat about 70 kilograms of food. That equates to 155 pounds. And that's a single giraffe, one single giraffe. So we're talking about 16 giraffes covering 200 pounds of grain. They're going to offer 4 to 6 bales of alfalfa depending on the season and also how many giraffes we might have in pregnancy or lactation. So those are nutritional requirements are obviously going to go up if we have babies on the ground or we're growing babies. So Khalid has his own pool of food. He doesn't eat out of that 200 pounds of grain. He's going to get 8 pounds of food by himself. And then we're also offering ad-lib vitamin and mineral salt blocks. So back here, you'll see these brown and white blocks. Those are on the left side is your mineral block. So that's a trace mineral. It's mixed with pretty much all of your macro and micronutrients. And then the white one is plain salt. And they're going to go to that as they wish. We're not going to offer that into the diet. They're going to have the choice to go. Most animals, their bodies will tell them when they're deficient. So in us, in mammals, frequently you crave meat, and you're usually iron deficient or salt deficient in that situation. So same thing for animals. I have another grain. So this is an acacia pellet. This is pretty unique, and the only place that we can get this Right now, we have to have it imported in from Africa. So this is made in Africa, mixed in Africa, very different standards. They don't follow USDA or FDA, obviously, but to bring it into the United States, we have to have a USDA permit to do that, to make sure that we're not bringing any parasites or bacteria that's going to infect any of our populations of plant species. So this is super cool, super expensive. It's obviously not feasible all the time, but we have offered this to our giraffe herd, and they hate it. They don't like it. So everybody says giraffe love acacia, and wrong. But it has other stuff in it, so that isn't going to have as high of a molasses content. Molasses is frequently added to feeds to make it more palatable, make it taste better. So they're missing some of the things, but nutritionally, that is more appropriate for their diet. They're in the wild. Acacia would be the primary species for.
Who eats that?
Who eats it? So we only offer it to giraffe and okapi.
But they won't eat it.
Really, yeah. Not really.
What are you gonna do with it?
We used it for some training. We thought maybe we could use that as our high value reinforcer. But they were like, we did. So we don't want to shock the rumen because of those microbes are very sensitive. So we always have to do a diet transition on a 25% basis. So we would never immediately switch them over to something like that. They would always have it mixed with a wild herb.
From the time they eat something to the time it comes back up in it, how long will it take?
So it's going to change, obviously on the size of the giraffe it's going to change, but if you're looking at an 8-hour window of full digestion from entering to leaving. But they're constantly eating, so they're going to eat from 16 to 20 hours a day of just grazing. And that's reversed from their predators, lions, right? So lions are going to spend the bulk of their day sleeping, and then at night they're going to be up and moving and hunting. So the giraffe they work in a kind of balance of schedules. But yeah, it's going to take about 8 hours from the time that they consume something until it leaves the giraffe. So the wild herb, we also offer, we have one pregnant female, Miss C2. So she's getting a special type of wild herb. She's getting a calcium-rich wild herb, meaning she's just getting a bulk load of calcium. It's about 25% more calcium than the normal diet. We see a lot in giraffe herds in captivity, hoof fractures, and bone splints. And that's because we don't feel that the current diets are offering enough calcium to meet their needs. So that's one of the pieces that we're trying to adjust for and get ahead of for Miss C2. Typically what will happen in a giraffe calf or a giraffe that has had a calf, she'll go hypocalcemic, so she will be deficient in calcium. She won't be able to produce enough in that first lactation. So that colostrum is low in calcium, and then the calf therefore doesn't receive enough calcium. We also will see the situation of a downer cow or a downer giraffe. So the giraffe will go down and won't be able to get up because she's lacking the calcium phosphorus ratio. So we're trying to get ahead of that from a C2, set her up for success, set that calf up for success.
Yes.
Yeah. She will stay on that for probably 6 months. So typically she'll come onto it at about midway gestation, and then she'll stay on it through lactation until that calf comes off. Just that's more so. There's no recommendation really in giraffe. The problem is that we go off of so much nutrition for cattle and goats. So and they're very unique because they're food species, and we're obviously not consuming giraffe. So we have to kind of alter those recommendations significantly. A lot of what we're getting data-wise is from the zoo community. So I personally am conducting a nutrition study on our giraffe, as well as Columbus Zoo is contributing at Dickerson Park, and we're doing a hoof study for calcium phosphorus. So we're trying to find a non-invasive way to obtain those calcium phosphorus ratios. So blood draws are great; they're awesome. That's a very accurate way to obtain that data. But giraffe hate it, and sometimes it can be negative. Even if you make it the most positive experience, it's not great. Nobody wants to get a shot. Nobody wants to be poked. But hoof trims are very positive, and almost every zoo is now doing some level of hoof work. So we're trying to collect those hoof trimmings right after they come off the giraffe, bleach them down, make sure that they're sanitary, and then we grind them into a powder, and we'll test them for the calcium and phosphorus. So we're comparing our old values for a diet that our giraffe were on their entire lives most of them to now what they're on wild herb. Hopefully, fingers crossed. It's very successful, but it should be a good way to figure out what that looks like without having to be all up in the business all the time. So I can talk a little bit about kind of what else we do for the rest of the animals in the zoo, unless you want to just talk about giraffe and have questions. Hi.
What kind of browse did you use?
Is there any nutritional value to the lettuce that they're getting overfed out there?
So there's no such thing as overfeeding lettuce. What would happen in the wild is the leaves would hold all of the moisture that those giraffe are going to consume. So we're replacing the leaves with the lettuce. It's doing essentially the same exact thing. The romaine holds about 70% water, so they're just consuming their water intake for the day. You can't always force a horse to go to water, whatever the saying is. But we can force them to eat romaine because they love it. So we're just replacing that part of their diet with something that's healthy. We used to offer giraffe crackers. Obviously, they're high-calorie items. They're Wassa Barilla crackers, so I don't know if you've ever seen them. Sold in the grocery store. They're rye crisp. They're disgusting. But
I think they're awesome. I love
try
them.
everything that the giraffe eat, that almost all the animals eat, except for the horse eat. But I try most of it to see if it really tastes
Put
good.
cottage cheese on them.
Were you part of the trying to figure out what anybody?
I was part of Pitty's care team. Yep. So we ended up sourcing human milk, human grade milk.
How did you guys decide to try the grocery store?
So we actually reached out to rural Crest area. Is anybody local Colorado?
Yes.
Okay, so local Coloradans, rural Crest is a big dairy producer here, and we created a partnership with them to provide her milk because she was going through 2 gallons a day. So this is a significant amount of human milk. We opted for that. We opted for the vitamin D rich, only because the equine side of it wasn't very favorable for us. The bovine side wasn't very favorable, so we opted in the middle and went with the vitamin D rich milk. That's what we could. So it was based off of the vitamin mineral.
And apparently y'all tried lots of different milks.
She did, and she didn't like so we used an equine formula. She didn't like it very much. And at that point, we were concerned about calories. Calories over content at that point. We needed to put as much calorie into her to make sure that she was growing and had the energy to do that. Versus, do we really care if she's getting 12% calcium? So the human milk is high in fat, really high in fat, and high vitamin D. Those are the things we're really concerned about.
I thought you were getting it like at a local grocery store. You actually worked with a farm to get it.
Royal Crest delivered it straight here every morning. Yep, so we would do, we would get
Unpasteurized?
unpasteurized. Yes.
Oh wow, so it's very high in fat.
Yeah, super high in fat. You can
Nice.
see the top of the milk separate. So it was the portion that before they would bottle for human consumption, they would sift off that for us. And you could see it would have a fat separation on it.
So she got the cream.
She got a little princess.
Aww.
Yeah, she was super special. That was, for me, a really cool experience because I bottled half a dozen calves, but a giraffe is totally different, and Penny was totally different.
And you bottle fed her with the rag on it.
Rag,
Aw.
the
The tail.
kisses until she was drinking. Yeah, she was good. She was really.
Did you guys ever try beaver milk? Because I heard that was high in fat as well.
So there's only one institution that currently has a milk lab. Is what
And they
it's
didn't
called.
have enough.
Smithsonian. And they
How do you
collect,
milk a beaver?
milk samples from almost every species that they can, and it's like the giraffe
Oh
blood
my
bank. They
goodness.
have a milk bank. So it's hard to get that stuff, and even if we got it for her, would we be able to sustain the amount?
How many beavers does it take to feed a giraffe?
It's a good nutrition. She was at one point. And towards the end, she was going through 4 bottles a day. So yeah, it was a lot of milk. But we have to think about sustainability too. If we were going to be bottle feeding her for 6 months of her life, what does that look like, and how can we provide that? And we probably would have started to make some different diet recommendations for her naturally as she was switching. But she did get colostrum, which was really essential for her. So she was nursing that first 12 hours before she splayed. So that was really beneficial for her. It's just she had all the other odds against her, unfortunately. So, any other giraffe?
What kind of browse do you use for the giraffe?
So we offer as much and whatever we can get, except for maple species and oak species. Those are toxic for ruminants, as well as pine. So pine species will cause spontaneous abortions of ruminants. So we want to stay far away from pine species. Elm is okay. Willow, cottonwood, and ash. Their favorites tend to be elm and willow. They will annihilate it completely. They will strip the bark off. They just the core or the center of the tree, take all of the leaves and do exactly what your after is supposed to do. So that 18 to 12 inch tongue will just completely strip all of the leaves off.
What about during the winter time when you're putting browse, that you've frozen the browse or concealer?
We've done a couple of different methods. So we try to do browse silage, which means that the browse will actually ferment and it will preserve. So it reaches the just the right anabolic conditions for the browse to be able to stay green, have enough oxygen into the barrel, and you seal it just kind of like canning produce. Same exact way we seal barrels. So we've offered them that. We think that it probably had a little bit too much sugar, so they weren't really they weren't super keen on it, but they ate it because it's browse and it's really high value. We've tried frozen browse before. The problem is that it obviously starts to oxygenate and then the leaves dry out and they're not super interested. And then in the winter, we'll also just offer them dead browse. So our browse coordinator is still chopping the browse. We're still offering branches, and it's mostly just so that they can practice and do the act of eating browse, have that time where they're spending eating browse. So even though it has pretty little nutritional value in it, they still just want to browse. Yeah. Any other?
That it?
Any other species you want to know about?
What do the carnivores eat?
Carnivores. Okay.
Yeah, where's the meat?
Specifically.
You said horse meat.
So overall, we are feeding a horse-based diet. So this diet is brought in from Canada. We have special permits that allow us to do that. Most of your large carnivores in zoos are fed horse-based products. There are very few zoos that are feeding outside. We find that with swine product or beef product, it causes a lot of GI issues. The horse tends to be pretty lean, typically a low fat content, so they have less stomach issues. The diet that we feed used to be packaged so that you had cartilaginous pieces, you had tendon pieces, you had bone fragments, kind of a whole diet mixed in. It's a ground diet, so it goes through pretty heavy processing. And we offer the ground version, however other zoos might offer the chopped version. We just switched our carnivores, our lions, over to a carcass program. So we're trying to more accurately match some of those wild diets. So they are offered rabbits 3 times a month, and 1 time a month they're given a whole carcass slab per line. Each line gets a section appropriate to their diet weight. So that's been a change in what we're doing. It's working fantastically. They love it. They're spending more time interacting with these meat chunks. They're practicing normal line behaviors, which is amazing. So they're actually, taking off the hide of the animal. They're pulling apart well. Long term, we'll see what the benefits are, but so far it's been really great. We do that off exhibit right now because we're not 100% sure everybody wants to see. So we do it off exhibit, but it's a really interesting thing to see because everybody just says, oh, they're going to eat that meatball and that's all they're going to get on taken. That's not. So you're getting a huge
buy a cow somewhere like in a race.
So I'm very big on supporting local ag. So we do actually source our goat and bovine products from local Colorado farms, Black Forest. And that's just my way of giving back because again, I'm a farm kid and I know what that's like. So that's how I just go and we should be supporting what we have. So they're getting some local product. They're getting some international product. We can't avoid a lot of that. The United States does not allow for the slaughter of horses for food consumption, whether it's for human or animal. So Canada is the only place that we can source those animals right now.
And they raise those horses for that reason?
They're feedlot horses typically, so they're going to come off of, they can come from farms that are selling them from auction, they can come from BLM land. Most of the horses in Canada are from the United States. So they are United States local grown horses going up to Canada to be processed. And it might go to dog food, it might go to zoos, but I would say zoos are probably the primary consumption of that. And then for most of our carnivores, we offer knuckle bones. Some of our animals are not on them because of dental reasons, but we offer bovine knuckles if we can, and that's just to get more enrichment. Use that bone as a way to scrub those teeth. The carnivore diets are very simple. They're not a lot, but
A leopard had a knuckle or a bone or something.
that's their favorite.
Oh, they were.
Yeah, the leopards are crazy. They tied them up into on social media they posted a post and the knuckle bone was tied up and Anya was just going crazy. It was so rewarding. We spent 10 minutes doing that and she really loved it. So, but some of our other carnivores will receive whole prey, so rodents, rabbits, chicks that we them. We try to do a variety. Variety is the best option for us. You're going to hit most of your nutritional requirements in the variety. So poultry products, you're going to have most of your minerals. We are very careful with what we accept nutrition-wise. So kind of strict when it comes to that. And most people are not happy, but I think that we need to be very sensitive with what we're taking in. We have species that are very unique, and some of them are endangered, and we need to make sure that we're providing the best quality nutrition and being safe about it. Yes, I understand that you have a cow that you can't use, but that doesn't mean my lion wants to eat it, so it doesn't mean you should eat it. So I'd like to be a little bit
Do you have all the fruit and vegetables in here?
We do, so we follow USDA protocol.
Because I can only imagine how much you cut up in.
A lot. I actually heard it all fall to the ground earlier, and I was like, oh, that's what that bang was. So we follow USDA. We do produce in the back portion, and then we'll do meat on this side. And that's to prevent cross-contamination, so we don't want, obviously, any of those things to touch each other. They can be fed out together once they're on the keeper side, but they will never live together here until they are immediately being fed out. So if they mix because the animals mix them, different story. But we will never cross-contaminate up here. So we prep all of the bulk diets for the zoo, everything from the elephants to the loft, every ARV species. We do most of the bulk diets. So they're going to receive produce that's pre-cut, ready to go, that they can just feed out. It's my job to make the keeper's life a little bit easier, so that's what I'm going to do. I have keeper assistants that you saw earlier, so they play. I can focus on other stuff. But yeah, we do all of the diets, and then it's our responsibility to get them out grain if they need grain. We do not mix grain and produce together either. That's just because it's a freshness piece, so you're going to lose a lot of your nutritional value if this becomes soggy. So.
What's your budget?
I don't think she can either.
A lot.
I know over 6 figures.
So I can
Per
tell
month,
you,
or-
this is a great budget fact. Romaine lettuce, last year we used 40,000 heads of lettuce. Heads, individual heads, which equates to about 55,000 pounds of lettuce. We spend on average about $80,000 in lettuce, just lettuce. Just for
Whoa.
lettuce. So yeah, it's a
Wow.
lot of lettuce.
Does the selling of the lettuce cover that?
Some years, yes. But we operate in different realms. So
Yeah.
yes, but
That goes to education. The education department.
I'm not sure where it
Oh.
goes. I just know that it goes somewhere.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Wow.
Who gets Gatorade?
So this is our enrichment closet. There's a light on your right hand side. You guys are more than welcome to peek in. Perfume. Yep. So this enrichment closet is everything
Enrichment
that we
closet.
receive. Most of it is donated,
Huh.
and it's donated from our docents. So I have pre-vetted sources that I receive a lot of this stuff from. Our docents will
Gatorade.
bring us
Dried
literally, it's
fruit.
like Christmas. It's amazing.
Baby food.
Honey, baby food, green beans, cat food.
Cat
Pasta,
food.
like you can't imagine. I never want to see pasta ever again.
Pasta.
Pasta.
The primates actually will do
Yeah.
original pasta. So most of these things are being consumed in very small quantities, or they're being used for trading. Honey is a high value item. Obviously, we're not going to feed them 2 pounds of honey. They're going to get a small portion of that. So this is just enrichment only, not really diet items. And then occasionally, when we do our birthday celebrations and we make ice treats, we tap in there and we really love that.
So
They love that. But frozen Gatorade is usually for meds. So it's an electrolyte rich, obviously, that's Gatorade's claim to fame. So we'll use that to kind of dilute some of the bad taste of meds, but also boost up those electrolytes. Primarily our elephants are receiving that. So they're receiving an elephant formulated electrolyte powder and Gatorade as kind of the backbone, just so we can make sure that they're taking in enough water throughout the day.
Favorite flavor?
They're old. The Blue Glacier.
Wow.
Blue Glacier. And that they like what's funny is they like the sour green apple equine version, but blue Gatorade, and I'm like, really, you guys? Like,
All of
they
this
get
is
all kinds
human
of
grade
goods. When
food,
they're walking
right?
the track,
This is
they'll
all
get
human grade.
butterscotch,
Yeah, I think
peppermints,
so.
things that are
Well,
really
except for the cat food.
delicious, but obviously a tiny little butterscotch in the world of 8,000 pounds doesn't mean anything. I wish that was me.
Yeah.
We try to give everybody a lot of love, so they get as much goodies as I can send out. Until I get the call from vet staff that somebody's fat.
Especially those Alice cats, different
Alice
from
cats. So they're receiving most of the same diet as the big cats. Small mice, so adult mice are one of their high value items. The keepers in Rocky Mountain Wild are super weird, and they like to do all kinds of crazy things, like they'll give them hard-boiled eggs, which is really common that they get that once a week. They get mice, they get small carnivore meat, feline meat, a bit of variety of things. So their enrichment portion and diet portion are two very different things. But yeah, most of their diet is going to come from a bulk meat product.
How big is your staff that does all the food?
It's two of us, so myself and one keeper assistant. And we're here from 6 a.m. until 3 every day. Yeah, we're the first ones in. We'll deliver diets out to the areas, and then we'll start prepping for the next day. So we always prep one day in advance.
And when you do that when you're on vacation?
Or do you work 7 days a week? My goodness.
7 days a week?
Like Sunday, the animals fast.
Nobody eats.
Nobody eats, yeah,
So,
overfeed.
I have a really keeper, thankfully. I'm also in the military, so I'm not here all the time. So thankfully, we have somebody who can cover my trail behind me because it's a big job. But the biggest part is ordering. The animals are very easy. Most animals follow very similar patterns and diet. So that's not hard. And it's following the recipe at the end of the day.
I saw the meerkats getting fed live crickets and live cockroaches. Where do you get those from?
We order bulk insects. So we have a company that we source bulk insects.
Ha.
Yeah, bulk
Wow.
rodents, bulk insects. It's quite the industry.
Amazon.
In the United States, yeah, local. They're actually out of Wisconsin. And then our rodent company has multiple labs that they will send us. It's humane and ethical treatment, obviously. And then we try to source local bugs, but we just have too much that we need. And people so we try to do some bug colonies in our areas. Multi-Pavilion and Scoots are two of those places that will try to keep their own bug colonies. Bugs are just dirty. I did tell them.
Do you get them as needed, or you're able to store them for a period of time, spread it out over?
We store them, so they have buckets that they will feed and keep the crickets in, and because you have to make sure that you're gut loading those crickets, otherwise they don't have any nutritional value. So they have to also receive nutrition. So that the animals receive nutrition. So we're feeding crickets to feed the animals, but they have buckets that they keep them at the right temperature with the right moisture content, and then we'll send down produce items from them, stuff like that.
So is it up to the keeper if they have to get medicine, how do we get it into, because we were in the monkeys and they were talking about the spoon and peanut butter.
Yep, it's gonna depend, and it's gonna depend on the animal too. Our keepers are really great at knowing what the favorite items are, and depending on the situation, if this is a serious situation and we need to get meds in right now, we're gonna go with the highest reward that we possibly can because the med is the most important piece of that. So it's gonna just really depend on what the animal is, what's safe. We're not gonna feed something that's not safe for a species just because it tastes good doesn't mean that you're better. So Nutella, not an option. Peanut butter, different story. And we're talking about, again, very small quantity, and the importance of getting that medication in can sometimes be life or death. So, yeah, it's going to just really depend on the species.
Do you guys grow vegetables and stuff on the rooftops? What do
No.
you grow up there?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Weeds.
Oh.
Yeah,
It looks like a
it is a dream
garden.
to put a rooftop garden. I just don't have enough hours in the day to run a
Oh.
rooftop garden. So that was
You need volunteers.
somebody who can come kind of cultivate for us. Again, it would make up maybe 5% of what I really need, but it would be very cool to be able to say that we produce some of our own
Yeah.
plant material. It could be amazing. We have a pipeline dream, some of us, that we want to create a truck that grows romaine, like hydroponically. So we come up with all kinds of ideas every day. Oh, let's do this. Let's do that.
You need a big
But
greenhouse.
we have to stay here until we get here. But it'd be really cool to be able to provide our own romaine. Romaine this year, I'm sure everybody knows, went through an E. coli alarm. So what that does to us is we had to take everybody off of romaine immediately and start providing ice for kittens.
That is hard to feed the giraffe.
Horrible.
And they didn't like it much.
Nutritionally, it's terrible. It just doesn't do anything for us. So, yep. When we have those things happen, which they're going to happen in produce world, we just immediately make those changes. And we find out, I would say, like, the E. coli, we found out within 12 hours of the CDC putting out everywhere. So I think it happens very, very fast. We jump on it as quickly as possible. We have vet staff who stays on top of that stuff as well. All of us really do our due diligence when it comes to outbreaks.
Alright, I'm gonna have to cut you guys off. I'm sorry, but thank you.
Thank